Today we will examine the story of Jairus' daughter. We find this story in the book of Mark, chapter 5, verses 21 through 43. Jesus and his disciples arrived by boat at the shore of Capernaum. There was a huge crowd of people waiting to see Jesus and hear him teach. A synagogue leader named Jairus was there, hoping Jesus could help him in a way no one else could. His daughter, who was only 12 years old, was so sick, everyone knew she was going to die. Jairus came to Jesus because he believed Jesus could help. The other synagogue leaders cleared the way for Jairus. When Jairus reached Jesus, he fell to his knees and begged Jesus to help his sick daughter. He said, "My little daughter is dying. Please come, put your hands on her so she will be healed and live." Jairus was desperate, and Jesus, who cares about us so much, was compassionate. He agreed to go to Jairus' house right away. The crowd followed him. The synagogue leaders encouraged everyone to make way for Jairus and Jesus and the disciples. But people in the crowd continued to press toward them. One woman in the crowd had a disease that had been making her bleed all the time for 12 years. She had been to every doctor and had spent all her money, but nothing worked. That day the woman was in the crowd because she too believed Jesus could help her in a way no one else could. She thought if she could just get close enough to Jesus, he would help her. She reached for Jesus' robe, thinking if I can just touch his clothes, I'll be healed. I know I will. As soon as her fingers touched his robe, she was healed. Instantly the bleeding stopped, but Jesus quickly turned around and said, "What was that? Who touched me?" The disciples were confused, but Jesus kept looking around to see who had touched him. He told his disciples that he had felt the power go out of him. The woman realized Jesus knew what had happened, and she was scared. Shaking, she stepped forward and fell to her knees. "Jesus, nobody else could help me," she continued. "I thought if I could only just touch you, maybe I would be healed. And I was, Jesus. I really was." Jesus said, "Don't be afraid. Your faith has healed you. Go in peace and be free from your suffering." While Jesus was still speaking, some servants came from Jairus' house. Jairus' daughter had already died. But Jesus heard what they said and told Jairus, "Don't be afraid. Just believe." Jairus said, "I do believe, Jesus." They kept walking, and when they got to Jairus' house, they saw people crying loudly. Jesus went in and asked, "Why are you making so much noise?" Jesus said, "This girl isn't dead. She's just sleeping." Then he sent everyone out, and he moved closer to the girl and her parents. Jesus gently held the girl's hand and said, "Little girl, get up." Immediately she stood up and began walking around. Everyone was completely shocked. Jesus asked Jairus and his family not to tell anyone, but I'm sure you can imagine how hard it was to keep this miracle a secret. The news spread quickly.